today I've got a barrel. What we're going to be doing is, well, last year at the end of the season, my feeder over out at the ranch was more or less falling apart. It's been out there for 3-4 years, and it was a really cheap kit that I got at HEB about, I don't know, 4 years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe longer than that, and it was like $150 or less. It was like barely over $100. And the way that kit worked, you've seen in the videos, the legs bolt about right here in the middle of the barrel and they come down. Well, the issue with that was after the second season, it got knocked down during the summertime and the legs had bent a little bit. And these little legs right here had rusted out pretty bad and bent up. So what I did is I made these big kind of I guess pole holders that bolted out of a 2-inch pipe that bolt onto the side of it where the original ones bolted into, and then my leg slid inside of it. That worked for last year. However, the problem that I had was because the plates were so flat, and when I bolted them down, it warped the top of the barrel. So last season I had a lot of trouble putting my lid back onto the barrel to seal it up after I filled it with corn. Not exactly ideal. So this year I really wanted to do something different. I wanted to build a cage that the barrel sit inside of, so no weight was on the barrel or anything like that. It just sat down in there, in the box attached to the cage itself and all that, but budget constraints kind of kept me from doing that. So I found another kit that I'm checking out, and it's these little ring kits with these legs. So basically, it uses the same poles that I already have on my feeder, but these rings bolt all the way around the feeder here. It might maybe go up here. They bolt all the way around the feeder, right around the barrel, all the way around the bottom of this. And then the legs bolt like this, like that, right there. So these little tabs underneath the barrel and holds on just like that. And that's kind of what holds up the weight of the barrel. So now all the weight is sitting right here on the rim of the barrel on the bottom. So there's nothing to really warp the top. And then, so that's why I'm going to try this out this year. I'm still going to build my cage eventually, but what's going to be nice about this setup here is I could tie in my cage to work with these here, use these 1-inch pipe to go up the top of it like that, and then still kind of do the same thing. Another thing I'm going to do this year is I'm going to attach my solar panel to this. The only hole that's going to be through this whole barrel is going to be for my cone, and for the feeder box, which I'm switching to a little 6-volt this year to try this out, but I am going to be running on a 12-volt battery, and my whole reasoning behind that is maybe running a 12-volt battery on a 6-volt feeder. The battery's going to last a long time, because sometimes I had issues, especially when it was real cloudy last season. My feeder wasn't fully charging up, and sometimes it wouldn't go off. The other thing I'm trying this year is I got me a varmint cage that's going to go around my box to keep the green jays from eating my corn. I lost a lot of corn because the green jays would hop up on my box and they'd eat the corn, and then I don't know how much they would eat, but I'm pretty sure it added up quite a bit. So we're going to do quite a few different things. I'm going to start out by placing this cone. I'm not going to film everything just because, you know, I don't want to bore y'all, but I am going to go through and do quite a bit today. And then tomorrow I'm planning on going out to the ranch where I'm going to set up the new feeder, clean out my blind, maybe do some sealing up on some stuff like that, weed eat the area, and then y'all are going to come along for that as well. So I'm going to start put this together, and I'll kind of show a short clip of each little section I'm doing. Alright, so I got the center of my barrel marked. I'm going to hit it with the, about right there. I'm going to hit it with the punch here to mark my spot. And alright. I always break small bits. Without fail. Every single time. I guess it's my fault I always buy cheap ones. Alright, so now that I have my center hole drilled, I'm going to set up my hole drill saw and then cut the hole. Alright, this might be a little loud. Alrighty. Perfect fit. Now this part is something you don't normally have to do, but I'm going to do it anyway just to kind of help the corn flow a little freely. I'm going to take my pliers, I'm going to try to bend this hole out a little bit so it kind of makes more of a funnel. Okay. Yeah, see that works. It's gonna raise it up just a little bit, but that's not that big a deal. Alrighty. Alright, so now I've got my holes drilled out for my screws. Now, you don't have to do this, but I like sealing everything up. So I've got some silicone adhesive. I'm gonna cover the holes and do a nice fat bead around here, so when this tightens down on here, it's gonna seal up nice and tight. So. I wish I had some regular silicone for this, but I am currently out. Here's just still clogged. Go. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of get this kind of evened out around here. Around want. See, that's not what I wanted. This one here is up higher than the others. Let me see if I can get it to... That'll be fine. Alright. That's on. Now, the thing I hate about these kits is I love that they include self-tapping screws. But self-tapping screws to me just are not the best way to go, simply because you can see what happened with this one here. It stripped out. If this metal is real thin, it strips pretty easy. Normally, anytime I can, normally these cones aren't that big a deal, but anytime I can, I try to do through bolts with a nut on each side, just so it's a lot sturdier and it's not gonna strip out a lot easier. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I have any bolts, through bolts, for these legs that hold up the feeder box. That way I can see and make sure that they are not going to pull out in the future. Now, I forgot to mention, some of y'all might be asking, why am I doing this with this barrel as opposed to just buying a feeder kit? Well, first of all, I'm poor. It may not seem like it with my habits, but my habits make me poor. So, building a kit like this is cheaper than buying a fully built feeder kit. The cheapest feeder kit I could find right now is around $200 because everything's gone up. This barrel, I got this barrel for 25 bucks. Actually, no, 20 bucks. I got it for 20 bucks. It was supposed to be 15, but I gave the guy $5 extra. And I got this barrel. It is a ring lock barrel. I didn't have to buy a couple plugs to put in it to seal it up, but this used to be a spray foam insulation barrel. So, you know, I guess he works for a spray foam insulation company. He gets these barrels and he sells them locally dirt cheap. It's fine. You got to clean them really good. I hit it with spray gel engine degreaser, rinse that out with a pressure washer. Then I hit it with Purple Power and rinse that out again, and I got it more than clean enough. You can't smell anything in it anymore, and it has no feel of residue whatsoever. But that's why I'm doing this like this, just because it is cheaper. Plus, I get to kind of put it together exactly how I want it. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring my feeder box over here and adjust it to be over the cone and to mark the 2 holes, or the 4 holes. But what I'm going to do differently than just using the regular self-tappers for this is I'm going to drill these holes out, and I'm going to drill it out and put bolts and nuts through it, and it's going to be permanently bolted to the barrel and then a nut on the side. So I can take the box off, but the studs are going to be stuck through the barrel full time. And this is going to be a much stronger hold because I'm going to be using washers and it's going to be clamped down. Little harder to do because, well, I got to be inside the barrel and out of the barrel at the same time. I know, complicated, I'll figure it out. But that's going to be much stronger than just using the self-tappers that comes in the kit. Something else I decided to do, seeing that I wasn't going to use the other 4 self-tappers from the kit, I went ahead and I put them on my cone here. So now this cone is held on with 8 of those self-tapping screws, so it's not going to go anywhere now. I might be a slight bit concerned that maybe the screws might kind of stop some of the flow of the corn coming through. But with this being a flat bottom barrel anyways, it's not going to be that big a deal. There's always going to be a little bit on the bottom anyways. So I'm not too worried about it, but that cone is not going to go anywhere. Alright, so now I have all my holes drilled to the right size and in the right spots. Now's the fun part of trying to figure out how to get these bolts threaded in and screwed in from the inside. So I'm going to figure that out and then I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so as you can see, now we have our feeder box mounted and in place. Now this box is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be, I don't have to worry about any self-tapper stripping or anything like that. Yes, it looks a little bit higher, but there's more than enough adjustability, and you can see it's pretty much good to go. Next, I'm going to do the ring around with the legs, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I got all the parts mocked up. Now I'm going to take the impact and the wrench and just kind of wrench them all together. It'll help if I put my drill going in the right direction. Oh. And it sucks, but I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes. They are everywhere. I don't know why they're attacking me. Well, I know why, but alright, so now that that is done, the last thing that's left is these two up front. Now these are what tighten the whole thing down and clamp it onto the barrel. Before I do that, you want to kind of make sure you arrange your legs where you want them. So I'm going to kind of offset it slightly from the center, because the way this is going to be looking at my feeder is the box here is going to be facing directly towards my blind. The way I do that is because when I sight in my night vision and I adjust the focus, I use the lettering on the blind to set the focus for the distance I'm shooting at. So I want this facing towards me. But if I'm shooting directly at that direction, I don't want my leg directly behind the box, just in case I'm shooting at a hog directly beneath the feeder. So I'm going to slide off just a little bit, because the way these legs are going to go, they're going to keep going back and back and back. So the way it is right here, I think it's good. So let's winch this puppy down. Consult the directions to see how tight that you want to put this, because this whole surface area is also holding the barrel, but also just these little tabs also support the weight as well. So paint session, 2 hex bolt, blah, 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 flat washer, blah, 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 blah. Tighten bolts and nuts firmly, then put 3/5 gear roll. Okay, well, I mean, it says firmly, but it doesn't really say how firmly. With this impact, I can certainly crush this barrel with it, but I don't think that that needs to be done. I think that I'm going to do just a little bit more, than make sure they're both even. Alright. I think that is good. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. and that should support the weight. I wish these tabs were a little thicker, but the good thing is if I decide to continue to use this system, this ring, I can always use this ring to build off of my original idea of building a cage around this. I can literally just chop this off here, put a heavier ring, and then build my cage around that, and weld. I can actually bolt directly to the rest of these to make this thing nice and sturdy. But I believe we are done with that. Next thing we're going to do is the varmint cage. So when you set up these varmint cages, you need to do two things. First of all, it's got these little tabs that you're actually holding on using the self-tappers. You want to make sure those are all out on the outside of it when you tighten it down. The next thing is you want to make sure the door opens up the same side that your feeder does. And actually, you know what? A bit of hindsight. We're going to move it a little bit back further towards the back of the feeder. Because what I was just thinking about is when this opens up, like so, we got these nice little clips here that open like this. Your front lid here opens like this. Now the reason why I'm talking about moving it back just a little bit, because you still have to have some room to open up your lid. So bring it just back like that. We can open up our lid completely. Alright. So let's check and see. Now the bad thing about moving it back like this to make sure the lid can open up all the way is this is still pretty close, and a raccoon probably could still reach his little paw through there. Like I said, the other solution is you have it directly in the middle where it's all perfectly covered up, but then you run into the problem to where you can't open your box all the way. This is going to make getting the battery out impossible. So yeah, I think it's just going to be wise just to move it back just enough where you can finagle that lid past it. Just like that. I think that's where it's going to be at right there. It's not ideal, but the way that this is designed, I think that's what we're going to have to do. I really wish that it was the type that the door opened out, and it wouldn't be the issue. But at the very least, this is going to keep birds out of the corn, and that's the thing that eats the most of the corn is the birds, at least in my area. Raccoons are a concern, yes, but not anywhere near as much as the birds, because the raccoons are only active at night. The birds are there all day, every day. Raccoons don't come every night, so that's something to always think about. The raccoons, you're not going to have dealing with your corn as much as you will with the birds. So, that's set up. Let's screw this down. Okay, I changed my mind. My OCD was kicking in, and it being too far back like that was going to bug me. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to center it like it's meant to be, tighten it down, and then I'm just going to cut some of these out right here, just so the door can actually slide up through right here, and then all's right with the world. So, and then hopefully that's not enough flexibility to, you know, make a raccoon be able to get in there and, you know, bend it open or something like that. I don't doubt they're going to be that strong or smart. So they are smart, but maybe not that smart. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to attach it right here. Now this doesn't have to be super strong. I mean, the most weight that's going to be on this thing is a raccoon or two hanging from it, and you know, all that weight's going to be kind of dispersed. Let's check and make sure it opens properly. Okay, it opens. Now let's check and make sure I can work this here. Okay. So it's going to be kind of a combination thing here. So let's get the wire cutters and trim this here. Bend these up here. Take a little bit more. There we go. And maybe bend this one up just a little bit. Alright. Just like that. Up. We're just going to bend them all the way 90 degrees back here. Like so. So, okay, that clears. We'll be able to more or less get into our box here. We'll probably still have to finagle with this door a little bit here so we can get into it. But more or less, we can access our feeder box with it being maximum position to keep grubby little raccoon hands out of grabbing the corn. So now the next thing I gotta do is I gotta take this spare solar panel that I have and I'm going to throw some new wires on it and see where I can bolt it on here to get maximum sun. So this is gonna be west. So I'll probably figure out something like this, give or take. Maybe I can find just a strap that I have that I can just strap around here. Because I really don't want to drill into the barrel hardly at all, if not possible. So I'll try to find some way to attach it to the leg itself. Alright, so it's all wired up minus the solar panel. Let's do a test. Alright. That 6-volt motor just runs on a 12-volt. I'm gonna have to mess with the timing and the power, see what I can do as far as slowing that down, because that was crazy here. All right, I got that set. Let's see what it on for 2 seconds for the lowest setting is gonna do. It's gonna go off in just a second. Come on. Yeah, I think that's just what I'm gonna have to do. Is I'm just gonna have to run it on the lowest setting for about 2 seconds, and then maybe that won't bling corn into next Tuesday or drag out a ton of it, because tell you what, at that one full power, yeah, that was too fast. So I got it on low. That seems like it's gonna be fine. Hopefully it'll work. So I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow when we're at the ranch, and we'll go from there. All right, so I wanted to try to find a way to test this solar panel before I go out there. My Milwaukee lights. You look, no power on the screen. If I can get it just right. Whatever, put it close like that. Boom. we have power, and we have a full 12 volts running from my Milwaukee light onto the solar panel. So I believe we are good. All right, I'll see you all at the ranch. All right, guys, so now we're back here at the ranch. As you can see here, my hunting spots, the grass is pretty overgrown, so I'm gonna go through, pull out the weed eater, weed eat this stuff here, get it cleared out. I'm going to back the truck up, fill up my trough system, and then we're gonna get over there and start working with the feeder. So, hope y'all enjoy. Alright, so as y'all have seen, some of y'all have seen before, this is how I fill up my watering system here. I bring a 55-gallon drum of water out here to the ranch, and I've got a pump that runs off of a power inverter that's in the truck that fills up the top barrel, which then feeds into this trough with a float valve. So, pretty simple system. If you have water on your property, you're gonna have animals. Now this drum, almost the whole 55 gallons is gonna end up going in the trough. My next trip I come out here, which will probably be hopefully on Friday, is gonna be the one that fills up the drum itself. And generally, my trips out here, I come out like once a month or once a week or once every other week on the weekends. I generally have more than enough water that I bring to fill up the trough, and if I have any extra, I normally take it to one of the other troughs on the property, or I dump it all inside my mud wallow over there. So while I was going to be, while I'm waiting for the trough to fill up, I was going to come over and start disassembling my old feeder. And birds built nests inside the feeder box because it all got bent up. Now if you look, this is all bent up and tore up from a hog. A big boar that I was watching last year. I never got a shot at, but you can see it's pretty beat. So, you know, what I'm about to be putting up is going to be a lot better than this. But I think my solar panel is salvageable. And I'll try to do something with the barrel, but you know. Oh. Alright, so now comes the fun part. Trying to get this barrel upright on the new legs, or on the old legs. So, I'm gonna start on the other way. Hot, 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 hot. Woo! Spicy. She's getting hot. Oh, this bitch is tall now. I'm actually gonna take a section off of each one of these legs and drop it down just a little bit, because I think I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to reach that with my truck anymore. So I'm gonna drop it back down, take off one segment of the legs. I'm gonna lower it down 2 foot, 2.5 foot. Or I might even just chop the pipes about a foot off the pipes. Something. That's just a little too tall. Yeah, let's push this up and see how this looks. Yeah, that's better. Still pretty low, but now I can still get to the top of it with my truck to fill it with corn. And it is higher than the old one was. The old one was like the bottom of the actual box was like down here, so. Rotate it into position. Drop the damn thing. Very nice. Now I may still have to adjust the height of the feeder box itself to do so the corn flows enough. But I won't know until I get it filled up and I do a test run. I'm hoping my hand one works on this barrel. Looks like we're good. Mostly. Not a perfect fit, but it's good enough. Good enough for government work. Alright, I'm going to pull the truck up, put the battery in it, do a test run, and see how it goes. Alright, everything is hooked up now, showing connected, showing power. So let's do a test. Moment of truth. Alright, it works pretty good. Like I said, I'm gonna have to adjust the power and the time for each one, but I do think I do need to drop it down just a little after I set the time, because it does appear to be still kicking stuff out pretty hot. So I want a bit more flow than I have. I got some more room. I'm gonna set it to go off twice a day, every day, once at 6 a.m. and one at 6 p.m. That's normally right just before sunrise and just after or just before sunset. So that's right. So that's lowered. Let's open her up and do one more little test to see how that's going. Yeah, it's a little better. Not great, but then again, I think when it does the test runs, it does it at full power. So I will not know how well it does until I see it go off in person at one of its allotted times. But when I did the test last night, it did sound like it was quite a bit slower, running at low for 2 seconds. So And what I may do is I may try to fix my 12-volt box and put my 12-volt box back on here. It should fit in here. But you see that one's pretty screwed up, so. But anyways, guys, that's it. Hopefully I'll see y'all guys this upcoming weekend for a hunt.